They're very exciting. A lot of things happen. We enjoyed filming them.
The Patriots are really going to pull out more stops. As evil as what they've done in the rest of the season, they're kind of making their final push.
The last four is kind of a 4-hour event. So if you watch if you watch these last four, they really dovetail together. The Patriot story comes to a head. Our heroes are thrust into a Hail Mary. The Nano story, which has been running kind of parallel all season long, dovetails and finally comes together.
The second to last episode is probably one of my favorite ones that we've done.
There's a lot of really wonderful soul searching that comes as a result of being pushed so hard and survival being even more difficult than it's been.
Charlie has even more good stuff coming up, and I'm enjoying watching her. Both because I'm crazy about Tracy and also because I'm enjoying how much the character has grown. You know, I think that she's a really interesting woman, a really interesting character. So there's a lot of great stuff coming from her.
Every character has a really huge kind of life-changing event that occurred for them.
And the last episode is, as always, Revolution, devastating and, kind of creepy and somewhat inspiring. So we'll see. Some people, it's fantastic. Some people, they don't get out alive.
No one is safe. Literally, no one is safe, and you'll see an example of that in somewhere in the last one.
There's a very cool sequence that they wrote that takes place on a train. And of course, because it's a train, it has to be a steam locomotive. And they had to find a steam locomotive in Texas somewhere. It turns out they found a working one, but it was 3.5 hours from Austin, so we had to move there for a week of shooting because you couldn't make that commute every day. And they shot this really cool action sequence. They created a crane, never before used, a 70-foot crane. I'm going like this, but if you can imagine that one end of it is here, and 70 feet here is the camera on a crane. And it was 2 railroad cars behind where we were shooting. So the crane could arch up and over. It could see people on top of the train. It could go move around to the side, see in the windows. I mean, it's really a very, very cool thing that my understanding is that there's never been a crane this long used in a train sequence before. And it was for the 8-year-old in you, that really, people ask me what it's like to do Revolution, and I say, it's like playing Cowboys and Indians at the home of the richest kid in the world. It's the best and greatest and most endless toys imaginable. Because really, the 8-year-old that wanted to run around and go, you really get to exercise that in this show. And we got to do stuff on this train that was just so much fun.
I think there's some overlap, but then there's also not. I have found that there are people who watch Revolution that I have never met before. A whole new kind of fan base. And then the people that I have met before, of course, from Lost, and you have a lot of your core, sci-fi fantasy watchers who you meet. And then on the other side of that, a lot of it's different. A lot of the base is different. We've roped in, my mom and my dad. Both of them are completely different. Mom's like independent movies, dad's Conan the Barbarian, and you kind of feel like, okay, well, they both like it. So I don't know. It's different. I don't know how to say how it's different. Lost had a fair amount of your high intellectual, how do I figure this out, way of thinking, and people were continually stumped, where I think that Revolution is kind of more swashbuckling, like a true adventure, and I think that's probably where the difference lies and why it attracts different people. I mean, I want to see more Nano stuff. That stuff is really fun. I mean, the Nano in the last 4 episodes is one of my favorite parts of the whole show.
I would love to see an episode that's all about water. Like, just answer the question of water in this world. Where do you get it? Where do you wash? What's a bath like? What's a shower? How do you shave? where's the bad drinking water? As a kid goes to jump in the lake and his mother goes, no, because she knows there's god-awful vermin in there. Or maybe the lake is perfectly fine and kids can swim in it. But I'm fascinated by where we get our water. I would love to see it, and I would also think that water, even more than it is in the present world, water's more expensive than gasoline now. But water would be the commodity. If you control water in the world of revolution, you would have a tremendous amount of power.
I would say Ben is, but that's just as a fan guess. I mean, as a fan of the show, I would say that would be my guess.